Good morning, students of Standard 10. This is the video regarding uh, a tiger in the zoo. We'll be doing a revision of this part. It's an important poem written by Leslie Norris. It describes, it compares the condition of tiger once when he is in a forest and once when he is or it is. Basically, I'm using he because he has used personification in the poem. He has treated tiger as a human being. So that way. So it refers to this poem refers to how it behaves differently once it is captivated and once it is set free. And by the comparisons, he just compares and he sends his message that animals should not be captivated, right? They are not for public display and having fun. They should be left in the wild and live their life they were meant for. Now the first stanza, he walks in his vivid stripes, the few steps of his cage, on pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. Now, if a simple explanation is provided, it would be he, the tiger, walks in quiet rage, unexpressed anger, in the few steps, small steps, because he can't take large steps inside a cage, it's a limited area. And the cage refers to the cage of the Jew. He has vivid stripes, bright and attractive lines on the skin, and is walking on pads which are like soft as velvet. So he stalks makes it personification. The few steps of his cage, again personification. On pads of velvet, it is a metaphor. In his quiet rage is an oxymoron. Now, the explanation. The tiger moves up and down of his cage. The stripes on his body are strong, bright color. The stripes on his body are, the tiger moves quietly on his velvety pads. He is full of rage but is quiet. And why he is quiet? Because he knows he is helpless there. Let's move on to the second stanza. The first two lines of the second stanza. He should be lurking in the shadow, sliding through long grass. You see, lurking in the shadow, sliding through long grass, it's imagery. An image is created of a tiger's movement, hiding in a shade or where it's dark and moving smoothly through long grass. He, the tiger, lurks, means waits for in ambush, waits in ambush basically, in shade of a tree, and slides, walks secretly, smoothly in the long grasses of the jungle. He is basically hiding himself. Near the water hole where the plump deer pass. Near the water hole, any water body, pond, lake, river. And what is he waiting for? Lurking for? He is waiting in ambush for a fat deer, which is his food. So this is also an example of imagery, while plump and pass clearly denotes alliteration, right? So these are the devices used in this. Looking at the imprisoned tiger, the poet actually is filled with pity. He says that the poor tiger should have been in his natural habitat. Then, at this point of the night, he would have been lying in the shadows of trees and sliding quietly through the long grasses. There, near the water hole, he would be waiting for some fat deer to pass that way. Thus, he would be lying there in expectation of a heavy feast. Now look at the contrast between the first two stanzas. The first two stanzas, the tiger behaves just oppositely. Here in the cage, tiger doesn't express its aggression, right? He is not taking long steps because he is in a limited space, right? And the velvety soft pads that he uses to walk across in a cage, he would have used it to ambush a fat deer and have a feast, right? And the beautiful imagery it has created, in contrast to no imagery, just expressing the helplessness of the tiger, is poet's indication that he prefers tiger to be freed. Now, the third stanza. He says where he is an object of display in the zoo, and what would the tiger do had it been free in the jungle? So he should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing village. He snarls means making threat. It's not roaring actually. Snarling is slightly lower than roaring. It is threatening call that they send. When they threaten the possible potential attackers, they snarl at them and they roar while they attack. He snarls and walks around the houses which were in the village, and the villages were located at jungle's edge. And what does he do? He threatens the people not to come out or not to encroach the forest by showing them his sharp teeth and claws to terrorize, to scare the villagers. What signal does he send? Don't encroach my area. Now, this is another thing that the tiger should be. Today he is an object of amusement for people, but actually he is made to threaten people and protect his forest. That's the message the poet is saying. Here the poet imagines what the tiger would be doing in case he failed to find any prey in his natural habitat. He says that the tiger would be growling at the edge of jungle near some village. He would be showing his white fangs and claws while moving here and there. He would thus become a cause of terror to villagers. The poet here gives a hint that if we destroy the natural habitat of tigers, they will be forced to turn to our towns and villages to find their food. Right? That is another point of view to look at. Now we move on to the fourth stanza. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He, the tiger, is closed inside a concrete cell, a cage made of stone and mortar. He can show his strength here. He can't show his strength here, so he walks the length, the limited space of the cage. He ignores he is not at all interested in looking at the villagers or the visitors. People are amused to look at tigers, but tiger is not at all amused by the presence of humans. He is not at all interested in looking at them. Now, concrete cell, alliteration, strength behind bars, again, alliteration, ignoring visitors, that was transferred epithet, his strength behind bars. Tiger's strength was not behind the bars. The strength was inside the tiger and tiger was inside the bar. The strength is the adjective that should be used for tiger. The tiger is removed here and the strength is locked. A strong tiger behind bars should be the sentence, but he says his strength behind bars. The poet sees the tiger lodged in a concrete cell in the zoo. In spite of all his strength, he now lies imprisoned behind the bars. Very slowly and silently he moves and down along the length of the cage. He takes no note of the visitors who come to the zoo to have a look at him. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. He listens to the last voice, people going back to their houses, right, and the sound of patrolling cars. But his beautiful eyes, brilliant eyes, he looks at the brilliant stars, right? The tiger knows no rest during the day because of the visitors. Even at night remains disturbed due to the noise of the patrolling cars. He keeps staring at the brilliant stars with his brilliant eye. Perhaps he is asking heaven with his why he has been imprisoned there. So this would be all for this video and this poem. Till we meet again in my next video with another chapter. Goodbye. Take care.